My name is Jeremy, and I want to talk to you about my favorite liberating structure, min-specs. Min-specs is one of the very many liberating structures that is good for so many goddamn things that it's almost fucking impossible to figure out how to use it. To give you us a nod in the direction, if you've ever looked at the Agile Manifesto's principles, and I mean, who does that? I know. And looked at this one down there, principle number, 10? And read simplicity. The art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. If you've ever read something like that and go, yeah, simplicity, maximizing the work not done, that's essential. Oh man, that sounds like it would be great, but I have no idea how to do that. Then you want min-specs in your life. Quick rundown on how min-specs work. I mean, really, there's two moves in min-specs. Step one, make yourself a list of maximum specifications. This is a big list. Your max specs are the mapping of your possibility space. They represent your could-do list. If you're familiar with the Moscow, right? Your must, could, or your must, should, and could do. All things possible. After that, step two for min-specs is to go from that big-ass list to the shortest list possible. These are your min-specs. If your max specs are your possibility, your could, your min-specs represent the essential, the must-do of all of those things you could possibly do. And so the way that we're going to get to a min-specs list is for every item on that maximum specification list, we're going to put it to a challenge question. And that challenge question is as follows. If we skipped this item right here, could we still be successful? I know, simple, insidious, but I'll read it again. If we skipped this item right here, could we still be successful? I mean, the sharper of a sense you have about what success looks like, the easier this becomes. But even with a squishy sense of success, you can have the conversation about, if we did skip this item, would it be okay? Or would the house fall down? So if the answer to that question is yes, then kill your darlings. I mean, save it for later. Put it at the bottom of your backlist. You know, that big junk drawer of crap you know you're never going to get to. Just put it there. If you want to hoard possibilities, be my guest. I mean, there's strong arguments to be made. I think min-specs encourages us to be bold about deleting that stuff. But hey, you don't have to kill it. It can always be there whenever it's time, whenever it's essential for that stuff. You can go back to that list and find it. Probably not. You'll just make a new list. It's that easy. So example time. So this is a real live example. This was from a call I was on just this last week with Wendell Britt, as well as my dude Victor. Shout out to the vibecafe.xyz. Enter the Vibe Cafe and come hang out with us. So have you ever shown up to a meeting and you didn't know why you were there, what you were going to do? Maybe it's relatable. Happens to me all the time. I get pulled into things and people are like, hey, did you show up for this? And I just show up and I'm like, all right, guys, what are we here to do? So this is an example about that type of situation. In this instance, I showed up to this call and Wendell just blew me away. He said, all right, what could we do? Let's just spend 2 minutes brainstorming what we could do in this play session. In this session, what could we do? So Victor, Wendell, and I brainstormed a big ass list. We came up with topics for discussion. We could write some copy, decide about how to WXYZ. We could make a landing page, create some strategy, make a list of people to harass or ask favors from. We could assign each other tasks. We could define roles. We could do the next thing in our roadmap, so to speak. This is relatively accurate. This represents a lot of the possibilities that were on our actual list. After that, we copied that list and we pasted it. We made a page break in our doc, just simply in Google Docs. I mean, you don't have to have advanced task management software for this stuff. So we just copied and duplicated that list, and then we went into our min specs. All right, so what do we actually need to do in this session? That was our challenge question. And we took 5 minutes to kill both ours as well as one another's darlings. We decided that we had to agree on the things that we were going to do, but the challenge question is essential, right? Going from that max specs of what we could do, what are we actually going to do? And we landed on just a list of these 3 tasks. We're going to write some copy. We're going to make a list of the people that we were going to send that copy to, that request. And we were actually going to do it. We sent it. By using the structure of min specs, we were able to get down to what was the most essential for that day. And then we were able to actually sit down and do that shit. Rather than talk about it all damn day, we got the thing done. And something really cool happens when you have this clear track record of these were the things that were possible. These were the portions of it we decided were actual, that we were going to do something about. And this is what we were actually able to realize of that list. In this instance, we have a 1-to-1 ratio, but it is not necessarily the case that we accomplish all of the things that we put down on our we want to get that shit done list. This helps create us a great track record of our decision making that we can tie to the consequences we're able to realize over time and give ourselves a powerful, powerful piece of information to do that empiricism thing, to reflect on and decide how our choices led to the results. And if those were results and choices that we want to double down on, or if we wanted to figure out how to make different ones going forward. So that is min specs stripped down to its essence. Create a big list of maximum specifications, and then chop that thing away to the most essential elements. Those are your min specs. Why is the mushroom the symbol for min specs? I think that has to do with how mycelial networks send out these tiny little tendrils, these little sensors probing possibility, looking for resources. And only when they connect resource to resources do they reinforce those probing pipelines. Only when they connect to a possibility that is worth actualization do they reinforce that connection and bring those resources from one place to another. That's my hypothesis anyway. My name's Jeremy. This is a brief rundown on min specs. I hope it's useful. Safe travels, nerds.